Back in 2008, President Barack Obama basically said that one of the issues that he wanted to campaign on was the issue of money in politics. He felt that our democratic process was being corrupted by corporations giving these huge donations to our politicians. Well, fast forward to 6 years later, and the reality is we haven't really done much to reform the issue of money in politics. In fact, things have gotten much worse. Now, if you do a shallow analysis of what's happening with lobbyists in the country, you'll come to the conclusion that, hey, you know what? Things have actually gotten a little better. There are less registered lobbyists these days. They're spending less money. But Li Fong, who is a reporter at The Nation, did this excellent investigative piece where he reveals the issue of shadow lobbying in the United States. So shadow lobbying is when lobbyists are able to spend money and then they don't have to disclose it because of certain loopholes in our laws. And the law that I'm referring to is the Lobbying Disclosure Act, also known as LDA. So just to give you some specific numbers, if you look at 2013 specifically, the number of registered lobbyists seems very low, 12,281. That's actually the lowest number since 2002. But the real number is that we have more than 100,000 lobbyists that are funding politicians in order to make sure that they listen to them and not the American people, not the constituents. Here are some more numbers for you. If you look at the official spending by lobbyists, this is the number that you'll see on the books, it's about $3.2 billion. How much did they actually spend? More than $9 billion. And the University of Kansas did an analysis to see what the return on that investment is. What they did is they looked at multinational corporations back in 2009 that were lobbying really hard to get a one-time tax holiday. Well, their return on their investment was a whopping 22,000%. So you buy the politicians cheap and you get exactly what you want. You basically undermine the democratic process, and the American people have a tinier and tinier voice as this continues to happen. If you want a specific coalition, just take a look at the Electronics Payment Coalition. Li Fong found that they reported spending of about $1 million, but in reality, they spent $17 million. So not only is money corrupting politics in the United States, lobbyists are able to do so with a lack of transparency. And that is a big problem because what they're trying to do is make it seem as though they don't have as much influence as they really have. And if you want to make sure that your politicians are listening to you and they're paying attention to your vote, well, what you have to do is hold them accountable when it comes to the amount of money they're receiving from these lobbyists. It's really hard to do that when you don't know exactly how much money they have received. So this is the reason why we discuss this issue, money in politics, on the Young Turks on a regular basis. We want to live in a democracy. We want to make sure that our constituents are being properly represented. And the only way to do that is to make sure we get money out of politics. What you can do is go to our political action committee, known as wolf-pac.com, and you can help pass a constitutional amendment that gets money out of politics. We want to ensure that we are properly represented. We want to make sure that certain rules and regulations are in place to make sure that corporations don't take advantage of us, the consumers, the people that live in this country. And also, we want to make sure that they pay the appropriate amount of taxes. That'll never happen if they're funding politicians with unlimited campaign donations. So again, check out the website wolf-pac.com and let's get our democracy back.